I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners Workshop Meeting for September 13th, 2017. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
I would like to ask Commissioner Andrus if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. Before we begin with our agenda tonight, we're going to have a moment of silence. Some of you may know that there was a tragic accident in Franconia Township. Unfortunately, two township workers, public works employees, Dave Smith and Jeff Moyer, were involved in that, where they were struck, unfortunately, while they were doing their job on the roadway. Mr. Smith, unfortunately, lost his life while serving the public, and Mr. Moyer remains in critical condition as far as we know. This is a reminder of the dangerous conditions and what an important job our public works employees fulfill every day. So I would ask that each of you stand with us for a moment of silence, thinking of both of those employees. Thank you. Not only the entire staff up at Franconia, but the families of Mr. Smith and Mr. Moyer are in our thoughts and prayers. As they did, which is to do the work of the township, we're going to move forward on our agenda. And first item is approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Andrus, second by Vice President Hughes. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with the agenda that is before you and up on the screen. First is citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments on agenda items? All right, not seeing anyone go up to the podium, we're going to move on to our consent items. Is there a motion to enter into the record the consent items listed in your agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers.
Second.
Second by Vice President Hughes. Those items include the engineer's report for the month of August, the police report for the month of August, the Calmer Volunteer Fire Company monthly report for August, the HTMA monthly budget report for July, and the HTMA meeting minutes for July 11, 2017. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move those officially into the record. We're going to jump right into our committee reports. First is Planning and Zoning Committee. Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you. The property acquisition for the added parking at Schwanker Park.
Thanks, Commissioner. I have a few slides here. Slides. All right, so a little bit of history. I think all of us are familiar, but for those of you maybe watching or here and not as familiar with this facility, Schwanker Park is on Moyer Road. It is jointly owned between Hatfield Township and Lansdale Borough. It was purchased through an intergovernmental grant in 1996 and has been owned and maintained by both municipalities since. Currently, there's 3 parking lots at the facility, which you see highlighted in red. For those of you who live in this area or travel this area on the weekends in the fall or in the spring, when there's tournaments being played, you have noticed that there's some serious issues with parking. Commissioner Andrus has brought this up many times over the years, has been pushing for Hatfield to do something about this to alleviate some of the concerns of the residents. They look like 2 field goal posts, but that's actually where we have issues with some of the parking that you'll find on the weekends. There's some very large-sized tournaments that take place at Schwanker Park on the weekends for softball leagues. So the residents for years in that area have been complaining about the parking for the tournaments coming in, parking along the street. Residents can't get in and out of their houses. They're having issues when they're having get-togethers at their own house. Their friends, family, nowhere to park. It's been an issue for years. So the parcel that you see identified there on Moyer Road, we have been talking with the property owner now for quite some time. He reached out to me maybe 6 to 8 months ago when the conversations began with an interest in selling a piece of her property. Obviously, initially, we explored the possibility of acquiring the entire parcel, which would be more ideal for Hatfield and Lansdale. But unfortunately, at this time, the property owner is only interested in selling a portion of the property at this point. So, obviously not ideal, but still an improvement. So you'll see outlined a property that the property owner is willing to have the township acquire. So the township would then acquire and subdivide this roughly 20,000 square foot lot on Moyer Road, which would then give the township roughly 32 parking spaces to get off the roads, away from all of the houses, and alleviate some of the issues that we've had over the years. Not solve, but alleviate. So before the board tonight is simply a discussion. It's a little bit of a complicated matter when property is acquired, and I'm going to run through some of the items that we will be considering at the regular meeting if the board is willing. But before, project costs. So appraised value of the property, a little over $100,000. We estimate roughly $90,000 to improve it into a parking lot. Subdivision and settlement, which the township will be in the applicant of the subdivision starting next month. We will go through our process just like any other applicant. Total cost, roughly $107,000. This is ballpark. All of it, $107 to the township, $107 to Lansdale Borough. Everything that would be incurred throughout this project would be split in half. Now, there's a lot of moving parts to this project. We have the property owner, we have Hatfield Township, we have Lansdale Borough. So this month, Lansdale Borough is also discussing this project at its public meetings. They have preliminarily agreed to move forward, but now that it will be discussed with the public, and we hope to hear from them that it has been approved at Lansdale's regular meeting this month, as well as ours. So the several items associated with this acquisition. There will be 5 agenda items on the regular meeting. There will be a sales agreement between Hatfield and the property owner. There will be a resolution to condemn the property, which is a friendly condemnation, and it's an advantage to the seller to avoid certain taxes. There'll be an intergovernmental agreement between Hatfield and Lansdale as far as how we acquire, how we share costs, how we improve the parking lot and share those costs. There will be an ordinance to approve the intergovernmental agreement because that's a state requirement. And then there will be a right of first refusal, which is the one piece that I haven't talked about yet. So the property owner has agreed as a condition to the sale to give Hatfield Township the right of first refusal for her remaining portion of her property, because ultimately we would like to see a parking lot throughout that entire space and possibly then solve the problem, but certainly would get us a lot closer to a solution. Now, the only one other item too I just want to point out to the commissioners just to make sure you're aware, there's a property owner here that obviously has currently, and I think one of the slides will illustrate that, currently a parking lot on the other side of their property, and now they will have one on the other side. Not the most ideal situation for a homeowner, but we have been in constant communication with that property owner, and they have been extremely generous and cooperative and flexible throughout, and we have promised them that once we go through this, we're going to meet with them, our engineer, and make sure that we buffer and put the proper landscaping in it's to their satisfaction, and they've been very open to that. So trying to do everything that we can to make it less impactful, but obviously they back up to a park, which is a nice benefit. So the one thing I just want to point out to the commissioners is that in 2 weeks when the board is in a position to consider all of these documents, there may be in the packet now, they exist, but they may be tweaked somewhat because we have the lawyer for Lansdale solicitor looking at it currently, and then we also have a lawyer for the property owner looking at all the agreements. So there may be a few adjustments made over the next few weeks, but we'll have a final form of a document for our packet for the regular meeting. But we are moving forward. And I know the residents in Commissioner Andrus's ward will be very excited to see this when they realize what's happening. 32 less cars causing problems for both residents in Hatfield and Lansdale. So it's a good thing, and we've been working on it for a while. A funny fact, I was talking to a former employee from our Parks Department about this property recently, and she said that this property has been discussed since the mid-90s to try to acquire, and it hasn't gone through. So I'm glad that we're able to finally get in this position and help with the parking issues.
All right, thank you. Item number 2 is the sidewalk clearance ordinance amendment.
Bob, before you do that, do we need I don't think we need a motion, but do we just need some guidance as to putting it on next meeting's agenda in order to move forward?
Yes, and to advertise the ordinance.
So we probably should take a motion then. Okay.
Second.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Andrews, second by Commissioner Rogers. If there's any discussion, other than I will add that we have looked at this as far as not only the acquisition of the property, but significantly the safety issues that this alleviates in that area. If you've ever brought your son or daughter there for softball, baseball, football practice, having an additional 30-plus vehicles off of the street parking into another area, it's just it's going to vastly improve the safety around that area. I don't know if there's any other questions or comments from commissioners. All right, then I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion for publication and moving this onto the next meeting's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Sorry, Bob, I cut you off.
Okay. Item number 2 is the sidewalk clearance ordinance amendment. That will be voted on at our regular meeting at the end of the month. The next item is Line Lexington Road, the deed of dedication right-of-way.
I'll take this. As part of the subdivision of this property at 2235 and 2237 Line Lexington, there's right-of-way that the township should acquire. So all I'm asking is that you authorize the execution of a deed of dedication at next meeting.
Questions, comments?
Yes.
All right. Looks like we have a consensus to move that on to the next meeting's agenda.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move on to Public Works Committee. Vice President Hughes.
Only thing I have tonight is the Walnut Street Bridge reimbursement. The bridge is now open, and now Aaron and Anton from Man Associates are going to work to try and get us reimbursed from the state. So, trying to get money back. That's a good thing.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Just a few more things in addition to that, and we talked about this often, but it's important to point out, and here's some before and after pictures of the bridge. You know, remember, too, we're going back to 2013 when we first started discussing this bridge. It was weight restricted. School buses weren't allowed over the bridge. It was becoming an issue. And at one point, it was about to be shut down. Commissioners fortunately acted quickly enough to where we were able to shut it down for construction before it was actually shut down to the public. So now that it's complete, like Commissioner Hughes said, we're going to go through the process of being reimbursed for 80% of the costs from PennDOT. So a summary, you'll see. So we budgeted roughly 1.6, and that was based on the engineer's projection. Total cost came in at 1.3, so under budget, always a good thing. PennDOT will reimburse Hatfield Township $1 million, 80% of the cost. So I want to point out a few things regarding that $1 million. The bridge was going to be shut down. The bridge needed to be replaced. Hatfield Township fortunately was able to participate, and it was a competitive participation, like a grant. It wasn't as if we were entitled to $1 million. So Hatfield Township positioned itself to receive this $1 million back, being reimbursed, saving the taxpayers here $1 million. Only in that funding round, only 12 bridges in the 4-county region were awarded this reimbursement, and only 3 in Montgomery County. So I wanted to point that out because it's clearly, big savings to the taxpayers. We can add that to the list of other grants that we have been successful in the last few years, and that really illustrates how effective the commissioners and staff have been over the last few years with keeping the cost down for projects that we have to do.
Was Maple Avenue under the same thing?
Maple Avenue was not.
Okay, but we did get a reimbursement grant on that.
Similar, but yes, similar.
Grant,
80%
okay.
Different grant funding, but yes, 80% reimbursed from Maple as well. So now twice within the last 5 years,
Great.
Hatfield has been able to be reimbursed for a significant cost on an improvement that is necessary.
Aaron, thank you to you and your entire staff for, and Anton and any other consultants who assisted in seeking these. This is critical items that we need, not only bridge refurbishment and replacement, but also the roadways that we handle every year. So thank you to you and the staff for handling that and really putting us in a position to be able to obtain that.
I appreciate it, but thank you to the commissioners that made the decision in 13 to pursue this before it was shut down. That was the reason we're here today, so thank you.
All I have.
All right, Park and Rec Committee, Commissioner Thomas.
President Zipfel. I want to start off by saying we had a very successful music feast this year. We ended with an awesome concert with Real Diamond, and we estimate at that concert we had about 1,000 to 1,200 people, so probably one of the largest ones. I'd like to thank Ashley O'Neill and the Township staff and Public Works guys. They did an awesome job this summer getting us up and ready and moving us along, and also the Parks Board who come out and cook and serve and do all that fun stuff. So we really enjoyed our season. I think we only had one concert that we had to cancel, so I think we're bringing those guys back next year. Dogapalooza was also a huge success this past Saturday. I don't have any details on that, but
Very crowded, very successful, a lot of dogs.
so that's good.
That's the metrics,
It's all
and it sounds
about.
like we got them, so.
It's fun.
So our Get Fit series has started already, I believe, and we have quite a number of different opportunities for you to get fit. We've got Wake Up Call, After Work Hustle, Yoga, and Zumbini, and they're all different days and times and things. You can register for those at hatfieldrec.com. We also have our Nothing But Net outdoor basketball clinics, which those have started as well. I think the second one is this Sunday, that's September 17th. What else do we have? And that's going to be at the Hatfield Activity Center down at the Aquatic Center. So, Rocktoberfest is coming up. That's our next big event. It's scheduled for Saturday, September 30th. So you can join us from 11 to 3 p.m. for a day full of activities, vendors, food, cars, motorcycles, music, and more. If you're interested in registering a car or motorcycle for the show, you can visit the website or stop by the administration building for forms. And registration is available online at hatfieldrec.com. If you're interested in vendor space, please visit the Township website or contact the Township administration building. This year's event will be held at School Road Park and features live music from High Noon and Scott France. And Scott France has played for us quite a number of times in the beginning of our Rocktoberfest, so he does a great job. The Octo Half Marathon is on Sunday, October 1st, and it's going to, we have registration for that at Rocktoberfest the day before. So, but that registration is going to be at runtheday.com.
Not to interrupt, but it won't rain. It cannot rain, if that's what I thought you said. Oh, it'll be great. I thought you said it's going to rain. Like, shh, you can't say that. Can't say that. Absolutely.
Yeah, rain or shine, it doesn't matter.
We prefer
One of our
shine.
biggest volunteers right here.
Yep, most consistent.
That's for sure.
So we also have pickleball. That's starting on October 2nd and runs through November 17th. It's Mondays and Fridays from 9 to 11:30, Wednesdays 1 to 3, and that's at the XL Sports World in Hatfield. Residents are $10, non-residents are $15, and you can register for that at hatfieldrec.com. We have the Hatfield Golf Outing on Monday, October 9th. The Township's hosting their 18th annual golf event. It's going to be held at the Lead Rock Golf Course. Registration begins at 11 a.m. Price per golfer is $125. It includes lunch, dinner buffet, greens, fees, cart, 4 contest awards, door prizes, and a special participation gift. So you can contact the Township for more information on that. We have Mini Monster Mania. Hatfield's Mini Monster Mania returns. Join us for an evening of Halloween fun for all ages. Enjoy a fun-filled night of games, crafts, snacks, prizes, and trick-or-treating. That's Wednesday, October 18th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. It'll be here at the administration building. You can register for that at hatfieldrec.com. It's $5 a child if you pre-register, $8 a child the day of registration. And then we've got some bus trips coming up. So the first one is Mohegan Sun Pocono Casino. We're partnering again with Upper Gwynedd for an autumn bus trip to the casino. It's Wednesday, October 18th. Departs from Upper Gwynedd Township building at 9 a.m. Departs from the casino at 4 p.m. It's $45 per person. It includes $25 free slot play and a $5 food voucher. You can register for that at hatfieldrec.com. And you can also, the other bus trip that we have is Radio City Music Hall. And again, we're partnering with Upper Gwynedd for that. It's to go up and see the Christmas Spectacular. It's Tuesday, December 5th, 10 a.m. departure from Upper Gwynedd Township Building, and then show start is at 5 p.m. I guess after the show, they head home. And that's $119 per person. And again, you can register for that at hatfieldrec.com. And that is all I have.
All right. Well, special thanks to those who assisted with Music Feast, especially Commissioner Thomas, who really oversees that, along with the Parks Board. Our chairman of the Parks Board, Wayne Rudders, here. Fantastic job throughout the entire summer. Always rave reviews, especially about that last one. Obviously successful, merely evidenced by its attendance.
Right.
So that's a great job. Well done, and thank you. All right, Public Safety Committee, just 2 items. First is volunteer fire tax relief regular meeting. Aaron, if you'd walk us through this.
Yeah, sure. So we talked about this a few months ago, and obviously the commissioners have been well ahead of this topic regarding providing tax relief for our volunteer firefighters. Commissioner Rogers brought this up a year ago. We passed a resolution to support the legislation. Legislation went through. So in 2 weeks, commissioners will be in a position to finally approve this ordinance, which will then provide the tax relief for our volunteer firemen. There will also be a public hearing that night regarding this ordinance as a requirement from the legislation. So we can talk about it more then, but the summary of it is that if you're a volunteer fireman and you live in Hatfield Township, depending on how much you make, you could save up to as much as $570 a year from local Hatfield Township taxes because of this ordinance that the commissioners will consider in 2 weeks. And we will have some volunteer firemen at our meeting as well in
Great.
2 weeks.
All right, next is Civil Service Rules and Regulations Amendment Proposal.
So I'm going to send that one over to our Chief of Police, Mr. William J. Tierney.
Trying to look at the future here with the changeover in the police department. The current civil service regulations say in order to be promoted to corporal, you have to have been on the Hatfield Police Department for 3 years, at least 3 years. Half the patrol division now not able to reach that goal, and within 2 years losing 2 corporals. It approached Aaron about possibly changing it to say 3 years as a police officer, because we have brought officers on board with prior police experience in other police departments that could certainly benefit our department if they had the opportunity to be promoted. Presented this to the Civil Service Board.
Right, and Civil Service Commission approved and agreed to Chief's recommendations. However, the code states that then Civil Service recommends, Board of Commissioners ultimately approve. So it comes back to the Board of Commissioners, and in 2 weeks we'll have an agenda item to ultimately approve the amendment to the rules and regs if the board so desires.
So Civil Service already voted on it?
Yes.
Do we have to publish that? And it's not an ordinance, it's not a resolution. Well, resolutions don't get published anyway, but.
I need to look into that. I don't believe it's an ordinance, so I do believe that, and we could, if we would like to authorize a motion to advertise if necessary.
Merely just in case, right?
Right. Almost
Figure it out.
correct.
All right.
It states clearly in the Civil Service Rules and Regs the requirement. I don't think it's an ordinance, but I think you're right to play it safe.
Okay. All right, just in case. All right, Vice President Hughes made the motion to, really is to adopt the Civil Service Rules and Regulations as amended by the Civil Service Commission. So, motion by Vice President Hughes.
Second.
Second by everyone.
That'll be easy for the minutes.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any questions, comments? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved as far as publication is concerned. All right, nothing else under Public Safety. Finance Committee, Commissioner Andrus.
Are we going to team up on this?
Yes, sir. Well, I have a slide, and Commissioner Andrews, you're going to take it from there.
Okay, so I may not be able to talk to all that slide, but for 2018, the pension projection, our contribution, Aaron, I think, had forecasted last year might be contributing a little bit more this year than we had previously. Well, the good news is, as our powers are all encompassing, the stock market has done very well, so our contribution is only 1% for 2018 is projected. And Aaron's telling me to refer to this slide. So precisely, I'm looking at tax liability, Aaron?
Yeah, just a summary of the last, since 2012, the liability to Hatfield taxpayers regarding the two defined benefit pensions, one police, one non-uniform. We have been very lucky, and it's truthfully, it's because of some of the moves the commissioners made in 2012, which all new non-uniform hires, I'm choking, will be enrolled in a defined contribution rather than a defined benefit plan.
So it's very good news for us as a township. Unfortunately, you know, we're projecting a larger increase for 2019. There's a biannual actuarial validation or valuation of the plan. And so we're forecasting in 2019 there'll be a significantly a higher contribution than what we're projecting for 2018. Obviously, the 2018 small increase will be a benefit to our township and as we prepare for our 2018.
All right. We're going to move on to the staff reports, Township Manager's report. Aaron?
President, the solicitor's upset that I have more slides to present here tonight, Commissioners, but I do, because we have more good news to share. We've talked about this project at length over the years too, as well, and it's the conversion of the LED streetlights in Hatfield Township, and the board will probably remembers that this is only for the PICO share. You'll see the PICO share highlighted in yellow really only represents, you know, a quarter of Hatfield Township. We're unable to purchase and convert the streetlights from the other side owned by PP&L, which company policy is to not sell those, unfortunately. And we have met with Representative Godchaux, has been very helpful in trying to compel PP&L to change that policy, but PP&L is standing firm at this point. But anyway, back to the project at hand. We had a representative from Johnson and Controls here about a year ago to present the project to Hatfield Township. We, along with about 60 other municipalities spearheaded through the DVRPC, is going through this project. The financing, the construction, all of it is a joint partnership. They're finally to Hatfield Township. The construction began almost a year ago with some of the other towns. Some towns are converting 3,000 streetlights. We have 59 on PICO, so we got put at the end of the list. They're here. Over the next few weeks, you may see some activity out there. Armor and Sons is doing the work. Johnson Controls is overseeing the work. So those yellow lights will be LED in the next few weeks. Good news is that even though it's only 59 streetlights, Township will see $250,000 worth of savings over 20 years. Now, if we're ever able to convert the other 80%, then obviously you can imagine the savings and how significant they would be for the taxpayers of Hatfield Township. But you will see a difference. We had a few test pilot LEDs out there on a few of those roads identified there, and we were able to just see, you know, the look. But we think and based on feedback from the other towns, the conversion has been seamless and shouldn't be an issue. But if a resident has a concern, they can certainly call us. Now that we own those lights, we have a little more control over what happens there. Ultimately, the savings will begin soon, and from what we understand, the maintenance is very minimal. But for the first time, you know, ever, Hatfield will be owning and maintaining streetlights, which has not ever happened, but just in that portion. That'll be happening for the residents in that area. They'll see the difference. Hopefully, it's subtle.
We do the math, that's about a savings of $12,500 a year just to change those lights.
Pay for all construction and acquisition costs. No money out of pocket to the taxpayers for this project.
I did not do that math in my head. Vice President Hughes did it for me.
Yeah, with the calculator.
The other item I have is another just simple update without a slide. I'm sure you're happy about that. No more slides? I think I can do this without a slide. We'll see. I think in July, the commissioners awarded the bid for the extension of the Chestnut Street Trail in relation to the grant we received from Montgomery County for $100,000 to improve that trail. The components of the bid that we awarded were simply sidewalks on Maple to extend the trail, so you're not walking out into Maple Avenue, and a pedestrian crossing at Orvilla at Independence. So those two items are currently under construction. I just wanted to give you guys an update. You'll see in Maple right now, the ramps have been removed. They should be poured soon. Should be a quick project, unlike other sidewalk projects that we've had in Hatfield. This one should be a quick one. When the pedestrian crossings go in, they will not be activated until we put in the trail improvements. Permit from DEP. So see all of that work happening, and then it will be put on hold until we're given the green light to put the trails in. Which I can make a slide real
Starting
quick.
to twitch. She doesn't have
You have
a
5
slide.
minutes?
I mean, you got an old slide of that. You showed us that before.
It's true. I could have referred you. I hit my maximum of slides, I think, tonight. So I had to
Do you
hold
have a
off.
completion date for the sidewalk? No.
Depends which sidewalk. That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, solicitors report.
My slide is blank, all is well.
That's right, that's good. We like to hear all as well. All
Well-
right, citizens' comments? Any citizens' comments? All right, seeing none, no one run up, before we adjourn, I need to announce that we are meeting in executive session to discuss personnel, and with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Hughes, second by Commissioner Rogers. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.